Hello, I'm Gina Miller, Outreach Coordinator of the Oklahoma NSF EPSCoR program. Oklahoma EPSCoR has developed a diverse outreach portfolio that's designed to reach all segments of the STEM pipeline through the defined target areas that you see here. Programming is implemented through our EPSCoR office and in collaboration with highly qualified STEM education partners across the state. When we submitted this proposal for consideration back in 2019, we knew that a key strength of our education and workforce development component was that we had developed a body of sound programming that would be delivered by a group of exceptionally competent and innovative education partners. Those partners included the Oklahoma Museum Network, Science Museum Oklahoma, State 4-H, tribal and regional college educators, and groups of key STEM specialists at our state universities. We knew that we could count on these partners to deliver quality programs. But what we didn't, and of course couldn't have foreseen in the development phase back in 2018-2019, was that our award would be launched in the midst of an unprecedented pandemic. Our program partners have proven that they are not only highly skilled STEM educators, but they're extremely resilient project managers. Only one initiative has been canceled due to the pandemic. All others have successfully adapted to the new reality. An example of this resiliency is Tinkerfest, pictured here. The single-day hands-on science event for K-12 students was originally scheduled to be held at Science Museum Oklahoma, but we instead sectioned and dispersed the program across 8 different public parks in order to meet social distancing constraints and also to benefit from outdoor ventilation. We targeted low-income, high-minority locations and brought hands-on STEM experiences to students and their families while also supporting pandemic protocols. The overarching goal of our outreach, education, and workforce development component is to address the state's workforce skills deficit while also broadening participation in STEM by underrepresented groups with special focus on women, underrepresented minorities, and first-generation college students. We're joining with stakeholders and program partners to implement a diverse portfolio of programs based on these 5 key objectives that you see here. In fulfilling the objectives to date, we've provided STEM curriculum and training to more than 460 traditional and non-traditional educators across the state. We've also reached more than 30,000 K-12 students and over 3,700 higher education faculty and students. With a significant 69% of higher ed participants coming from PUI and minority serving institutions. We've also laid the foundation of our citizen science network by inviting 500 Oklahomans to provide landscape imagery to support the project's research team. So even with the adjustments and modifications that have been caused by the pandemic, we have been successfully addressing our goals and objectives through a multi-layered approach. Our faculty and post-secondary student outreach programs are listed here. Oklahoma Research Day provides PUI faculty and students with opportunities to present their research to colleagues across the state, while Research Day at the Capitol makes state legislators aware of the outstanding undergraduate research taking place on Oklahoma's college and university campuses. We've developed a variety of undergraduate research experiences, as well as events and programs that are designed to significantly engage students in S3OK research. Our HBCU, Native American, and primarily undergraduate university students are strongly supported through these programs. We've extended our quarterly professional development series beyond our research team, and we're engaging researchers statewide. The seminars have addressed team building topics, as well as diversity and inclusion. State conferences and retreats have supported collaborations between student and faculty researchers, as well as stakeholders. The photo that you see here shows one of the more than 25 student research spotlight videos that were developed for our state conference back in 2021. Those videos are currently available on our website and YouTube channel. Our K-12 portfolio was assembled with the overriding mission of reaching underrepresented groups through proven and effective STEM education practices. By targeting rural areas of the state, we're reaching many first-generation college-bound students who live in households with fewer STEM opportunities and access. Our programs have brought STEM and S3OK focused research awareness to K-12 students and teachers across the state. We're training new STEM educators, and we're embedding them in communities through rural library-based programming and also through 4-H in-person and virtual training sessions. And we're getting girls and underrepresented minorities excited about science through conferences and camps. It's important to also note that we're reaching parents and caregivers through multiple family-friendly STEM activities. And this is important because it supports students' ongoing participation and success in STEM. The photo that you see here highlights our Pontotoc Technology Center Environmental Biotech STEM program, which provides juniors and seniors in rural Oklahoma with an intense 2-year lab-based science program. They attend half of each school day throughout the year. 38% of these students are underrepresented minorities, and almost 2/3 are female. Our outreach and education programs have reached over 44,000 Oklahomans in the first 2 years of this award. 53% of those participants were female, and 30% indicated underrepresented minority statuses. We have a robust set of K-12 programs, reaching more than 31,000 students and teachers. And in the higher education category, participants from PUI and minority serving institutions are predominantly represented at a combined 69%, while research institution participation is at 31%. We have over 9,000 participants that are categorized as other, and these individuals are primarily parents and caregivers who are supporting K-12 students' engagement in S3OK programming. It also includes non-traditional STEM educators that we've trained, as well as business, industry, and government representatives who have participated in S3OK conferences and events. At the foundation of our project is integration and collaboration. And highlighted in green here, you can see that 19 of the 22 programs that we've supported to date address the S3OK research theme. 3 programs do not, and the criteria that they meet have very specific goals, including teaching introductory math and science courses to tribal college students, providing entrepreneurial skills and opportunity for college students, and facilitating underrepresented minority students' travel to professional meetings. Further illustrating our project's integration, many of our programs utilize cross-initiative participation, and this helps ensure that the materials and knowledge that we're developing are being utilized to the very highest benefit. Another positive outcome of building these interdependencies is that we're initiating meaningful new relationships among our program partners that will help ensure sustainability after our award ends. S3OK team members are directly involved in our education and outreach programming. Even with COVID's social distancing constraints, 25 student and faculty researchers have meaningfully engaged in K-12 to higher education initiatives. 16 researchers have integrated EPSCoR research into 29 different university level courses. This is at HBCU Langston, OU, OSU, and PUI Southwestern. While 9 other researchers have brought hands-on science and career exploration to students via both live and virtual means. Pictured here are students participating in S3OK researcher Dr. Hubin's synthesis of a macrocycle session, which he presented to 78 middle school girls at the Southwestern Alliance for Girls in STEAM camp last summer. Our team members are dedicated to researcher involvement and outreach, and we're really excited about the opportunity for them to be able to participate more fully throughout our portfolio as the pandemic diminishes. Our program outcomes are evaluated based on the criteria that you see outlined here. Now, there are commonalities across the higher ed, post-secondary, and K-12 outreach criteria, with each individual program producing multiple outcomes. Removing barriers to STEM access, increasing student STEM skills and knowledge, and increasing the public's belief that STEM research is really important. These are outcomes that are addressed by the majority of our programming, while a more targeted set of criteria measures our support of traditional and non-traditional STEM educators. In addition to evaluating project outcomes, we're also checking on strategic planning progress. The majority of our higher education milestones have been met, but activities that require in-person interactions have fallen a little bit short in participation numbers, primarily due to public health concerns directly associated with the pandemic. 5 of our K-12 programs have met or exceeded their strategic planning milestones. 3 other programs partially met the targets, while 2 others fell slightly short. The deficiencies are directly related to pandemic travel concerns and the challenges of capturing accurate participation numbers during reporting of virtual events. So now that I've given you an overview of our portfolio, I'd like to highlight a couple of individual initiatives for you. This one is the Oklahoma Museum Network Library Affiliate Program, and it builds the capacity of rural libraries to deliver engaging and educational hands-on STEM programming. We've distributed a catalog of 8 ready-to-use STEM kits via the public library system to students and families in 10 of the state's most disadvantaged rural counties. More than 195 activities and book tie-ins are included in these kits. And our EPSCoR research focus of wind, water, soil, and energy is addressed in 89 of these 195 kits. The project was initially developed as a facilitated in-person library program, but in response to the pandemic, network educators modified the format of the existing kits and developed additional ones into discovery-based grab-and-go take-home activities with a virtual option. Libraries utilize program-provided video and equipment and training to develop instructional videos that accompany the online content. The program's materials are accessible to teachers and families in electronic formats, which is especially important when that in-person facilitation at the library hasn't been possible. Our EPSCoR researcher, Dr. Olofsson, which is pictured here, has developed videos for the program that integrate literature and take-home STEM kits to help early childhood and school-age students learn about the water cycle. And while the primary purpose of the program's virtual option was originally to enrich and promote learning experiences, their collaborative nature has also supported connections between parents and children, while also providing support for those teachers who were struggling with hands-on remote learning experiences. The Library Affiliate Program is also addressing the digital divide. Many of the households in the communities that we're serving lack access to high-speed internet connection at home. They rely on their local libraries for their primary source of online information. The COVID health and safety concerns have resulted in reduced access to their libraries. EPSCoR Chromebook banks and remote hotspots were provided to each library to ensure that these underserved students and families have continued access to our materials as well as online school classes and other online material. And finally, the program is training library staff as STEM educators, which is an invaluable and ongoing resource to the communities that these rural libraries serve. 100% of the library educators who were surveyed indicated that they were more confident sharing STEM due to their OMN training, and they're also utilizing the resources that were provided through the award. Pictured on this slide is a rural librarian recording an interactive instructional video in the EPSCoR funded studio. The videos are posted on social media to support the library's grab-and-go STEM kits. So I've talked quite a bit about how our program has adapted to the pandemic. This is the homepage of our virtual Women in Science conference. It's designed to show students that STEM careers are exciting, attainable, and rewarding. And I wanted to briefly highlight the program for you because it serves as a really good example of some of the unanticipated positive outcomes that have resulted from our pandemic modifications. The Women in Science Conference is presented in collaboration with our partners at Science Museum Oklahoma and the Oklahoma Museum Network. It's an annual event that's hugely popular among students and teachers. Registration always fills up within a day. Our proposal had capped the registration at 1,500 students annually due to the capacity limits of the in-person event. However, due to the virtual aspect of the 2021-2022 conferences, we were able to double the number of students that we reached, with over 3,000 students and teachers participating each year. In order to make the event possible and also interactive, STEM kits were hand-delivered to more than 100 schools across the state in advance of the conference kickoff dates. We also had teachers' lounge sessions that included broad support for educators. They such as new STEM activities to implement in the classroom, and also guidance from a mental health trainer regarding the challenges of teaching virtually. 8 EPSCoR researchers presented students with S3OK research and career information, as well as guided interactive STEM activities and a citizen science session. The expanded reach we've experienced at Women in Science through this virtual option has also been seen in other programs this year, and we're really pleased about the ongoing impact due to the online availability. A highlight at this year's Women in Science conference was the Hall of Researchers, which spotlighted 6 of our outstanding young S3OK student researchers. They were introduced by our co-PI, Dr. Carol Silva, at the conference. Each student talked about their research and presented an experiment that conference attendees performed along with them. And the feedback for this year's Women in Science conference has just been exceptional. We're sharing our project's message via a comprehensive communication strategy that's designed to mesh with and support our overarching project goals. A key component of the strategy is our interactive website, which has more than 16,000 users during this project. Research, education, and public outreach menus allow intuitive navigation for all of our constituents. We've also posted more than 25 videos to the site during this award. Our communication strategy includes the methods that you see outlined here. And by diversifying approaches, we're able to provide solid support for our body of outreach programs and initiatives, while also bringing the EPSCoR message to future participants. And finally, to wrap up, you can see from this map that EPSCoR outreach and education programs are reaching Oklahomans statewide, with more than 44,000 people in 69 of the state's 77 counties served in the first 2 years of this award. We've been especially cognizant of bringing STEM access to rural Oklahoma through this project. That's important because 1/3 of Oklahoma's population lives in rural locations, and more than half of the state's public schools serve them. We know that state and federal data shows that almost 60% of rural students in Oklahoma live in poverty, and they're significantly less likely to obtain a college degree than their urban counterparts. Over the next 3 years, we're going to continue working to ensure that underserved populations across Oklahoma are receiving access to meaningful STEM education and training. So again, I'm Gina Miller, and I will be available throughout the conference. If you have any questions about my presentation or Oklahoma NSF EPSCoR outreach and education programming, I would love to visit with you. Just seek me out. Thanks so very much.